So, this week's going to be short and sweet. The day jobs took a little more time than we expected this week, but more importantly, you guys came through with some incredibly helpful suggestions. Matt spent his available time this week working through more tutorials on landscape and foliage systems. After last week's mysterious grass performance issues, he went back to the basics to make sure he actually understood what these systems are supposed to do. The good news? He got the foliage painting mode to work. That means we can actually place trees on the map instead of just staring off into empty terrain. So yeah, there are now actual trees in the game. You can see them. The deer can hide behind them. And if you're not careful, you might shoot them. I do kind of hate to lean on the millennial humor, but the thing about building a game world is that you're building a game world. That sounds like a tautology, but when you realize that you're actually constructing an entire experience based on a series of yes-no questions, that meshes have no collision until you tell the computer that you want it, that gravity is a suggestion and that water is a lie, you start to wish you could go back to the real world where you can touch something and expect it to push back. Not the most common sentiment among programmers, we know. I spent my time watching tutorials on sockets, building systems, and asset workflow. After struggling with the terrain construction last week and all of those manual alignment headaches, I wanted to understand the proper way to set up building pieces so they might actually snap together like they're supposed to. It's not the most exciting content for a devlog. We both watched a bunch of videos about how to use our tools correctly, but sometimes it sucks to suck. So, this week we got an incredibly helpful comment from Karen Tomasin that we have to share. So, this is exactly the kind of community support that we love. The only problem? It sucks to suck. And we suck. Matt said that he looked into the basics of procedurally generated content, and it was a lot. But at the same time, it could work. Matt says that he likes the idea and that it could be useful for a bunch of other things like roads, rivers, trees, and maybe lakes, but the current map is small enough that he's not sure that using procedurally generated content to generate terrain is the way to go. And he's not wrong. He'd basically be starting over from scratch to learn procedurally generated content. But on the other hand, PGC might be the solution we've been looking for, a middle ground between complete automation and total manual work. It would let us define the rules for how terrain and vegetation could be distributed, and then let the system handle the actual placement while we maintain creative control. Currently, the plan is to do a blend of making our own custom height maps and some in-engine refinements, but we will definitely keep it in the back pocket in case we aren't able to build something that we like. But seriously, thank you to everyone who takes the time to leave encouraging comments and helpful tips, especially the helpful tips, even if we don't end up taking them. When you're a two-person team, learning everything as you go, having a community that actually wants to see you succeed is incredibly valuable. We read every comment and we respond to all of them, except one. You know what you said. Your encouragement keeps us going during the frustrating weeks, and your technical suggestions often point us towards solutions that we hadn't considered. Sometimes real life gets in the way of game development, which is rough but predictable. Not every week can be a major milestone when you're working on day jobs and other responsibilities. The important thing is that we are still learning and making some tiny incremental progress, even when the time is limited. Matt's foliage painting is good, and my building system tutorials are a teeny tiny step in the right direction. Most importantly, we are extremely appreciative of you guys. Solo development is lonely and difficult. Having people who care about the project, offer suggestions, and cheer us on makes the whole process feel like we're not screaming into the void. Steve and not Steve, of course, still are screaming into the void. We just haven't given them voices yet. Anyway, like and subscribe. It really does help. See you next week.